Hello, welcome back to Mitsubishi PHEV Adventures. This is episode 18, a little bit of a 6-month-ish review. It's not quite 6 months, but I'm going on holidays next week, so I'm getting this out of the way. And yeah, the car is going great. It's still a thumbs up for me. So very quickly, probably the best things I like about the car are the space. So it's a bit deceptive in size, but the previous two cars I had, Subarus, just felt a little bit, I don't know, for some reason the hip point was a little bit wrong, the roof line was wrong. This car seems to be just perfect for me and my size, so I really like that. Also the styling and the paintwork, I think they've done a great job with the car. I know it's the older generation Mitsubishi, but I really like this 2021 model, the way they've done the styling. And a bonus for me is the paintwork. I think actually they've done a great job with it. It seems to be slightly better than the previous couple of Subarus that I've had. Have a look at the spoiler here in the rear tailgate there. Look at the reflection there of the clouds, and this car's not even exactly clean. It needs a clean, but it's still very, very shiny, and I don't know, they've just done a really great job with the paintwork. So that's also a definite surprise. Turning to things not so good, you may have seen in my previous video where I had a little bit of a rant about the passenger seat here, which is not electric. I thought that was a bit cheap. You know, it's nothing major, but I think they could have put an electric seat in the passenger. So yeah, that was a little bit cheap on them. The other thing I probably don't like, which you saw in my previous vid, was for some reason the units seem to reset. So I live in Australia and I like metric settings, and for some reason it does change. It's got 4 different settings here, and it seems to periodically just change for no reason to the very first setting there. And yeah, I've got no idea why. It's a bit silly. There's a few little things that it does, and that's one of them. And on that matter, I still think they could have done a better job with some things changing for no reason. I prefer the car to be on an economy setting, but it doesn't default to that. It defaults to a normal setting. But anyway, they're only little things. So how's it going in terms of economy and so on? Well, here's some PHEV data from the watchdog, the PHEV watchdog, and the car's doing about 60%, just over, in electric only range. So it would be a lot higher, but for the fact that I do a few long trips in it. And how does it go on a long trip? Well, firstly, let's have a look around town. So I do a lot of towing, and usually around town the range is around 30 k's towing. So if you're looking for a tow vehicle, it can tow, and that's what range I normally get. My trailer's about 400 kilos, so I never seem to go, I never have an issue. I'm always getting 30 k's at least towing. If I'm not towing, which of course on a long trip I'm not, I will get a few more, so I'll get at least 35 usually, maybe up to 40, but that's doing highway speeds, so I'm doing 100 to 110 k's. If you're not towing and you're in a city or a town, you'll get much closer to the 50k range. So obviously, because of the regenerative braking and the stop start and not going as fast, you'll easily get up to around 50. Another reason I chose the car was because it can do off-road stuff as well, and it's really great on gravel and sand. Even a little bit of mud is no worries. Probably I wouldn't use it on something really too muddy, and obviously it's not a rock hopper. That's because the ground clearance is 190 mils or so. That's what it's listed as. I think the ground clearance actually is a tad less than that. It might be a centimetre or two less than that, and that's because of the architecture of the battery pack and so on underneath the car, and I think it's slightly altered the chassis, even though for some reason it's still listed as 190. So anyway, I'm off to Christmas Island next week for a couple of weeks, and that's the reason I've done this review earlier. But I will be doing a long trip to Perth, because I have to go to Perth to fly there. So in an upcoming vid, I'm going to do my upcoming trip next week to Perth. So I'm heading off on the weekend, and we're going to take a few days to get there, which we normally do. and we might do a little bit of off-roading as well, but we'll do some economy tests and so on. So look out for that in an upcoming trip when we head up to Perth. Okay, another thing to look out for is, you may remember I mentioned I bought a spare tyre from Perth from a wreckers for $150. Now I'll leave that tyre in the back, especially on a long trip, because obviously this particular model doesn't come with a spare tyre, so that's something you have to consider. But I may have found a way to mount it there in the car, so look out for that in an upcoming vid. So yeah, I'm still very, very happy with the car. It's doing its job, and I'm getting a lot of electric use out of it, particularly around town, but it also is not too bad on a long trip. So thanks so much for watching. I hope there was some information here to help decide whether perhaps this car could be useful for you. That's it for today. Thanks again, and take care out there. See you later.